All right, hello everyone. Here we are, hole 5 that I'm going to be setting up for here. Not exactly sure what my wind will be like, but we're going to go in kind of expecting to be able to get this well down here. One of the things that I can probably start to do is kind of maybe take off my top spin. We'll see, I kind of think ideally, rolling this into the rough is going to kind of be ideal. Here you can see a 17 wind. That's probably pretty perfect to go relatively full, very close to. And the only adjustment that I'm kind of going to make is I'm going to take off the top spin a little bit, or side spin, just a little bit. And you can see where I'm positioning in terms of for my adjustment, and I might just barely come off of it. You can see it's almost the exact same needle, but just a little bit, and perfect ball. Let's just see how this works out. So far so good, and that's pretty ideal. This is kind of exactly where I want it to give myself a very reasonable chance. In my opinion, it's going to be better than the fairway, so that's why you don't see me just kind of running it down the left-hand side. One of the things I could have done is I could have spun it the opposite direction to get it shooting down that fairway, but I'm really not interested in that because I'm going to end up with a weird side wind, 19 mile per hour wind. And it's just going to be too much wind effect. It's just not something I'm interested in doing. So what you're going to see me do instead is I'd much rather be in the rough here and only have to worry about, say, a 1 to 2 ring adjustment. It's going to be a very, very small adjustment that needs done. So let's take a look at this. I'll try to size it up for you guys, see how far I am from the hole. And then and as I mentioned, that's a very killer wind, and it would be awful at max club for like a wedge or something. So there's 50%. There's maybe 20% or so. You get the 19 in. I'm thinking somewhere in here. 3 rings. So I'm thinking right around 3 rings here. You can see what I'm doing. The needle. So that says 3.2. I'm only going to go 3. I feel like I might not quite be that far. I missed my perfect ball. So it is going to shoot off to the side, but you can see, the 3 ring adjustment would have been relatively spot on. It's a very small, low trajectory wind shot, where if I got towards the, and you can kind of use that ring number. So in terms of per ring, if you got it up to a similar spot as me, for instance, that's basically 6 per ring, or maybe 6 1/3 per ring. So, the second time you won't have to do that slow calculation. You could just use my ring value and say, okay, well, Zach had this, and he used, 6.3 per ring, and it was relatively spot on. So if you can get up to that similar spot as me, keep in mind that you'd actually have to drive it that far. If you don't, you might have to use a 5 per ring. So if you're a little bit shorter, it's going to be somewhere between 5 and 6.3. That was kind of as long as I could expect to drive it. Probably never drive it farther than that. So just something to keep in mind. Hopefully you find that guide useful there. You'll see that it's a very straightforward alba. It basically comes down to perfect ball. I'm going to at least be touching the hole every time with a perfect ball. So, whether it goes in, it's going to be, right on that cup. So it is very straightforward, very easy. You can expect to see some albatrosses on that hole, no doubt about it. So good luck with that hole, and catch you guys with hole 6 coming up.